Hello. Welcome everybody to week 12, session number 2. Today we're going to review the midterm exam. Have we reviewed the midterm exam? I guess no. Right, so let's review it very quickly. If the connection is good. Did you manage to read the assignment? Nura, Shamma, Salima, Sarah? This one?
The chart presentation, you mean?
Yeah, the link I sent yesterday for pre-reading before the class, this one.
I read like the first part and then I scanned the rest.
Okay, and what do you think about it?
I think like there's different ways to do graphs, and
exactly, yes.
for each one there's pros and cons.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's those with interaction.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are a little bit interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, excellent. So this post is very good because it shows you how to do different charts in different ways. And it's also the first time we will see how to do charts with Python, right? So here you have an example of Python charts using a library called pandas. Usually we'll see this PV. And so this is what we will discuss later. But first, who wants to review the midterm exam? Anybody? No? No one? Okay, no one. Good. So are you happy with the midterm exam? Great. Yes? No. Sarah, not happy. Okay. So let's, so what we do today, review the midterm exam, then we will see observable HQ, the videos that you did, and then we will review this as a case study, and then we will have a look, if we have time, we will review this pre-reading that you had to read, and we will start some code, some charts in Kaggle using Python or R language. Sounds good? Excellent, fantastic. Okay, so let's see if we have time to do this. Now, so here we have the Blackboard. And so I need a volunteer to read the questions. So who wants to read the questions? No volunteers? No volunteers? Okay. Then I have to read the questions. Or Sarah, you were not happy with the grade, so why don't you read the questions? So here it is. Okay, wonderful. Begin. Right. So, for example, this question, Sarah, you want to read it? Mothership talking to Sarah. Over. Who wants to read? volunteer. No volunteers? Yes, somebody? Peshala? Any volunteer to read the questions? No?
Yeah, I've read it.
Okay.
Hans Rosling used dramatization in his visualization by using the metaphor of a football competition between countries. As a football match, this helped his story to be remembered.
True or false?
It's a tricky question.
It is not a tricky question if you watch the videos that you have to watch as an assignment, and then you will see that it's completely true, and this is why Hans Rosling is famous, and that's why people remember his message. Next one. Yes, Beshala.
Story consumption releases oxytocin.
True or false?
True.
Completely true. This is page number 10 in the book. Yes, story consumption. That's why people are addicted to storytelling. Number 3. Yes.
The following is a breakdown of cause of death in city in the past 3 months. Cancer caused by car pollution, 23,400. Heart attacks, etc. COVID, others. This number are data information or knowledge. It is data because it's not related to other bodies of knowledge. The second one. Right.
Fantastic. I love that one. Yes. Well done. Next one.
Confirmation bias is when another activity seeks only evidence that confirms its belief and ignore data that indicates otherwise.
True or false?
Take on the evidence that. Wait, let me read. Confirmation.
Or somebody else. You can ask. You're reading. You can ask your friends, Hanan, for example.
يلا حنا.
I think it's false.
Confirmation.
Well, actually, this is page 54 in the book, and it says that confirmation bias, and it is example of Reinhard Rogoff, this right-wing economist from Harvard.
Yeah, it's true.
That they only look for data that confirms their pre-existing ideas, so because they want to feel right? And there's a problem because it's a very clear case and famous, and now they lost all the credibility they had because a student found out it was confirmation bias. So true.
It's true, yeah.
It's true, and you have to be careful when you want something to be true, and you only look for that, and you ignore other things that tell you that's not true. That's also you can also be a victim of confirmation bias.
Okay. Hans Rosling's main storytelling point is that the third world has improved more than we think. That's true.
That's true. If you look at the talks, that's a main surprise message, right? Yes.
Okay, a bias is non-systematic error in a model. I forgot. I think false. Yeah, false.
False because it's systematic, right? So, for example, so true, because the correct one is bias is a systematic error in a model. Yes.
Okay.
Non-systematic.
Yes.
Non-systematic means it happens sometimes. It's random, so you cannot control it. But systematic means it happens all the time. So, for example, racism. It's a negative bias, systematic negative bias towards Black people, right? Or towards white people in some places, right? Yes.
Yes.
So all the time that you are white, something bad happens to you, or yeah. So that would be a bias, a systematic bias, and that you can fix it, and because you can fix it easily, it's not accepted anymore.
So is it false or true?
It's true if it's systematic. It's false if it's non-systematic. So the bias is systematic. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's false.
That one was false, yes. Did I mark
Yeah,
true?
you pressed the true.
Yeah.
I was checking that you're not sleeping. Good. Who said
Okay.
that? Bonus point for you. Next one.
We were all confused. Anyway, to make a scatter plot in Excel, we first use a pivot table to format the data. True.
No, I think
Never.
it's false.
It is false. If you have,
Because you can create scatter plot without using pivot table. You can just like enter some random number, then generate.
I think pivot table for sum, average, and this, but scatter plot you need raw data.
you need long form data. What do you mean? X and Y, for example, right? Data. X, Y, 2 columns, X, Y, and long data. But if you do a pivot, it usually summarizes things. And yeah, you could still do a pivot table, taking 2 rows. But first, it's not a standard way to do it, as this question implies, right? So it would be false, yeah, because not always, not necessarily, and this question implies that this is the way to do it, and it's not true. Yes, next.
Okay, Excel is more powerful than Tableau to create interactive charts. False.
Completely false.
Oh,
True?
false.
Somebody says true?
False.
It's the least interactive thing I've seen in my life. That is why Tableau is kind of eating the world right now.
Mm-hmm. The dollar straight visualization shows the show me, don't tell me principle, and it is perfect. Example of an image is worth more than 1,000 charts.
Page 99, Dollar Street. True. What is the show me, don't tell me principle?
Instead of like putting the text or the caption, we just show it by visualizing it.
If whoever made this exam was applying the show me, don't tell me principle, how would this question look like?
This question?
Yeah. There would be a picture of a Dollar Street, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it would say, is an image worth more than 1,000 charts? And I would say true or false, right?
Yes.
Right, next one.
The following is a breakdown of a cause of death in city in the past months. Cancer caused by a car pollution, heart attack, COVID, others. Which of the following charts is less suitable for if we want to promote the narrative of competition between death types? The second one, bar chart horizontal.
Excellent, yeah. Pie chart is good, and bar chart vertical is good, and bar chart horizontal not so good. Fantastic. Next one.
The Gartner Magic Quadrant is an example of linear regression.
Completely false, yeah. There is no connection between Gartner Magic Quadrant, page 75.
Yeah, false.
And this one, yeah.
A worldly map can be used to decide which areas of business to outsource due to commoditizations trends.
Yeah, very good.
Business outsourced.
You can ask your friends, Besala. You don't need to answer all the questions.
I think it's true. Yeah, can be used to decide what.
It's actually the main killer application of worldly maps. That's the Spotify case, for example, and that is the Tesla case. Yeah.
Okay. True and false. It's true.
This is an import error. So this question, I don't know what happened. We will fix this question.
Okay, one of the 6 rules of data visualization is to always use Excel or Matplotlib to make your chart accurate. False.
False.
Very good. Mhm.
The purpose of a story is that to transmit, perpetuate a narrative, a belief, or a culture, an ideology. Yeah, true.
True.
Very good. Mhm.
As a channel, we are more sensitive saturation than to length. I think true. True.
Yeah, if you look at the slides, it's like 50% more sensitive to color saturation than to length. Yeah.
As a channel to convey information, luminance can convey 12 classes, while hue only 4. That is why we see luminance is more effective. True. False.
False.
Luminance is the brightness, right? It's a weird way to say brightness. Hue is a weird way to say color, right? So it's more or less, yeah, luminance. We can distinguish 12 levels of brightness, more or less.
And hue?
If we want to see classes, right, without confusion. And color, we can only see 4 colors. Not really, right? We can see way more colors, right?
Yes.
So in this case,
It's
the
false.
opposite. Yeah. Very good.
A story is an account of events. True. To create an animation like hands rustling, Gapminder, we can use the free Gapminder software. False.
Why?
To create an animation like hands. We can use any other software, not necessarily Gapminder.
Well, you could use Gapminder.
But we can use it.
Yeah. No, you cannot use it anymore because Google bought it and killed it. It doesn't exist anymore.
So it's false.
If you paid attention in the classes, yeah.
Yeah, I know that Google took it, but
this is no,
it's
there's
still
no.
Gapminder.
No, it's not. It doesn't exist anymore. This software. It's
They
part.
changed its name.
Why did they buy it in the first place? They will kill it.
So you could do a wordly map about it, right? And imagine your Google and your Google spreadsheets. The charts are very important, and you have competition. This is a fight for the cloud, and you have Excel with the charts, and you have Tableau, right? And you are Google, and you're saying, "Oh my God, Tableau is eating the market of data visualization and of data." And you have Excel also, and you're Google, and you want to become the new Excel of online, right? But you have Tableau on one side, and you have Excel here, and you have this very cool software, Gapminder, that you're gonna grab the elite of people that wanna do visualizations, because the people that want to use Gapminder, they really have a story to tell, right? So what do? Do you let Tableau or Excel buy this, or do you allow another competitor? Because Gapminder could have become Tableau 10 years ago, right? So what do? You have a lot of money, you just buy it and kill it and put it inside your Google spreadsheets, right?
Yeah.
That is the sad reality of today. And because the American government is not doing their jobs of stopping these things happening, they say innovation is dying in Silicon Valley, which is kind of, you can agree quite a lot. So now you cannot use it anymore, and for no good reason.
Even an organization that is worried about failing enrollment, and given a survey of students' opinions about the same, a way to create knowledge from the survey would be to connect the survey data to some pre-existing framework that deals with the opinions and enrollment. False.
Somebody else?
What? True.
Does it? That's how we create knowledge, no?
No, we don't
By connecting to frameworks.
use frameworks.
Come again?
Go ahead, Sal.
No, I said that like we create knowledge by connecting information to frameworks. So
I think
it's that way.
Ah, so because I don't say information, I say data, it's wrong. Is that what you think it's false?
For me, it is true, but
So
for Bashar, it's false.
Bashar, yeah, so for me, it's true also. So maybe it should say the survey data, convert the data to information and connect it to a pre-existing framework that deals with opinions, like the Net Promoter Score, right? So that's exactly what we did in the class. So Beshala, why do you think it's false? What's your opinion?
I thought we don't connect it to a pre-existing framework or to any frameworks. I thought I read it somewhere.
Ah, okay. So, well, if you look at the page number 1 in the book, the way to create, Sarah, can you explain the way to create knowledge?
Yeah, by connecting it to a framework.
Connecting, relating, putting the data inside the framework. So what we did in the class, the Net Promoter Score thinking framework, right? So that's exactly this. It's a framework, it already exists. It's tried and true, and many people use it many times in many situations. It works every time. So we took our data, we put it in this framework, and we saw, wow, right? So in this case would be true.
If your story chart visualization advocates for neural narrative, it will be like it has no purpose. True.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Why did you do it? And last one.
I can see. Yeah, okay. The linear regression chart is called regression because the data always regresses to the mean. True.
Somebody else? So this is page 55, and the reason linear regression is called regression is because somebody wrote a paper about how the height of the children is related to the height of the parents. And he saw that you could only explain the height of the children from the parents' height only in 60% of the cases or the time, and the rest of the time, if the parents were short and the children was a bit higher, it was explained because the genetics of the humans, the DNA of the human race itself, not the parents' DNA. And he called this regression to the mean. It meant that it meant that more or less all the children that will be born, they will all have the similar height, around 170 for humans. And even if your parents are super, super tall, it doesn't mean that your height of the children will diverge towards some incredible height. And this was called mean regression, because if you deviate a bit, you regress up or down. And this was the first time that somebody used the linear regression method. But it was not called linear regression because it has nothing to do with regression. Just because the title said regression of the height of the humans, then people start calling that method, which was amazing. And it was the first time that it was very useful. And they start calling linear regression to that. But it has nothing to do with regression. If you look at the mathematics, it's just a optimization formula. So it should be called linear squares optimization. Good. So that's a very good question to know if you're speaking to a true data scientist or just an imposter. So the reason is false. We saw this in class. Good. So let's see what we got. And we need to remove that question that was not imported. And then your grade will probably go up. Awesome. Questions about the midterm? Okay, good. Thank you, Beshala. Now let's go to our...
But sir, you got 19.
That's a very good point. So I'm gonna check.
Say, leave it. It's okay.
No, I will check later and see what.
You don't have to check, please.
No, I will check.
No, please, sir. Because I feel like I was sure of most of my answers, but I got low grade, so I don't know why.
I will check it. I guess there was an import problem when I imported the CSV file from Excel. It's a bit complicated, and I guess some question got shifted, and I will check later. Thanks that you point that out. I will check later, and you'll probably see your grades going up or down if you're unlucky, but don't worry about it. Now let's go to the videos of Observable HQ. How did you like that, Sarah? I see, Sarah, you did, for example, analysis of this one, sticky force.
Yeah.
This is very interesting. How do you like this? This Observable HQ. I mean, wow! Look at this. This is super cool, right? What? Amazing. So this is very cool to do interactive charts, playful charts, and so on. And Sarah, you explained very well here. So a very good thing to do here is that to show me that you really understand the code. Here you could have said, okay, I'm going to show you that I really understand the code, and I'm going to, for example, that instead I'm going to fork this. You can fork it, and I'm going to say instead of red, it's going to be blue. Right? So you really show that you really understood the code, and so on. So that's very interesting. Anybody have some comments? This is also very interesting. It's fantastic to do interactive storytelling, even art, some kind of art mixing data, storytelling, and interactivity. So I think
I have a question, like the one I explained. Where can we use it? I feel like it's nice looking, but how can we use it?
Super amazing, yeah. So for example, imagine you want to explain the difference between in chemistry class, and you want to explain a bit of computational chemistry. So it's very nice to see that how a molecule, even though it has a normal state, what happens when it comes close to another molecule while you are explaining as a professor, right? So like stuff like that. So I think it's very interesting. Another example, if you looked here in the general chat, the guy that does augmented reality, did you check him on TikTok? He puts his stuff on TikTok. Let's see, this guy. Did you watch this video? Because this is absolutely incredible. So if you look at this guy here, like, so look at what he does. He uses augmented reality.
10 to 20% of people with COVID-19 are responsible for 80 to 90% of infections. That fact totally blew up my mental model of how this disease was spreading.
Right?
In my mind, disease spread was exponential and tied to the R value, the reproductive value. So in this
Can you hear it? It's pretty interesting. It's not the same, but you never know when you will want to have some small interactivity in your data explanation. I agree that there is a lot here, and the most important is the narrative and the chart fit. And these things usually distract people, especially if you don't have experience. And so they're quite dangerous to get blinded by the tech and wanted to play with all the little things here. But it's just, it's good to have it. And someday you'll remember, say, oh, I can use this to do this. It doesn't mean you have to use it all the time. Sounds good? Here you have a very awesome example, because I want to tell you that this was not possible 20 years ago with the laptops. Like, this is using the same technology. and this simulation is very realistic, and it's just incredible. Awesome, cool. So the guy who started Observable HQ is the guy who started D3, the JavaScript library that it's kind of the standard to visualize all the charts you see in your browser. All of them, most of them, they use this library, this visualization library. Okay, question. So I've been watching your videos and your commentary, and it's really good. You girls, boys did a very good job. If you haven't picked up a topic, I'm looking forward to Hulut's explanation of this one. Please send it because it's a great exercise. The other example I wanted to show you, which because the storytelling is really good, is this website called 538. Did you watch it? Anyone? So, for example, this is not done with Tableau. This is a website called 538, and the guy, his name is Nate. He's famous data scientist because he always predicts who will win. Sarah, you have any comments?
Oh, no.
And so the way he does that is by using simulations, and then he assigns probabilities. So this is the result. Look how he visualizes the simulation. It's really good. And then he visualizes this as a river. It's one of the best storytelling websites I've seen in my life. And so he's famous now. His specialty is to forecast elections. And the way he does it is basically with simulations. This guy is known as a super forecaster. So it's a group of people that are very good at always being right in calling elections and stuff like that. Brilliant storytelling here. For example, use memes, right? Interactivity. This is probably, if you dig down, view page source inspector. So you will find some D3 libraries here. Yes. So this is custom, and it's very expensive to do this, but it works for him. Right. So this was one, and then we have this one, which created a bit of a controversy on LinkedIn. Like, I had so many people tagging me like, hey, Jose, have you seen this post? What do you think? I'm going to show you now the LinkedIn showing these. Let's see. Oh, internet is so slow. I'm dying here. Wow, really slow. Right, so let's see here. Somebody talked me about this. Okay. So I asked you to analyze this from a data visualization perspective. So I think, Beshala, you had some comments on Slack. Can you tell me how would you improve this visualization?
Okay. Yeah, I saw Raya. What Raya said. I think for me, with the trypophobia issue, I find it really disturbing. Like the bubbles.
Can you explain to the rest of the class what is trypophobia?
I have this fear, weird feelings when I see like bubbles gathered together.
I have it too, with white dots and black.
Yes, I hate it.
I hate it, and I don't know why. I don't know why. I'm sorry about that. Okay, so somebody else has a comment on this chart?
Hey.
Yes.
Where's the queen? Here, I'll get my queen.
Somebody else?
I think it's better to put some percentage.
Right. So first is, what is the author trying to say here? What is the message that he wants?
Like, I think the blue ones are for Trump, like people who voted for Trump, and the red are for
the other one. But why did the author make this chart? What was his purpose?
Sarah, it's okay, you can go for the baby.
No, don't worry, he's with the mommy. Baby's with the mommy. Yeah, so what is the
he wrote it like land doesn't vote, people do.
So what is he trying to explain to the rest of the people? Why he spent 3 hours making this GIF animation?
Not all the people vote.
Like most people want Trump. I think like that.
No, I think, wait, sorry, do you want to say something?
Yeah, go
on. The blue is for Biden and the red is for Trump.
Yeah.
So even though they are saying that, like, every state is either in the side of democracy or Republican.
Yeah.
So they say even though the state is more likely to be a Republican, you can vote for Biden for whatever reason, and you can win. And this is what happened. I think it is because of the quote, land doesn't vote, people do.
Okay, somebody else has an insight? So I think the author is trying to complain that in the news, we always see the map, right? But if you have an area, a state with very few votes, but a lot of land, it shows more area than New York, for example, that has a lot of votes, and it's almost you cannot see it in the map, right? So why they show land, area of land, as if it was voting instead of people, or votes, which is what counts, right? So, and then he wants to show this, like, look, all this red color, but nobody lives there. So it's very few votes, but it looks like if a lot of people live there, because it's a big land and we show big land, as if the land was voting. But no, what vote is people, and people live in small cities that you cannot see in the map. And then it looks like the people that live in the cities or in small places, even though there's a lot of people, they look underrepresented in the map. So he's complaining that the map, showing a map as representing votes, is biased, and it favors places where you have a lot of land and few people, and it underrepresents places where the area is very small, like cities, and they show very small in 1 or 2 pixels in the map, right? And it just happens that the people that vote Trump, usually they live in very low density areas, and the people that live in the cities, they vote Biden. And that's why he's complaining that, hey, we always show this, but why don't we show votes? It's like land is voting, right? So that's why he said, look at the transformation. If I convert the area into real votes with the bubbles, so that these are the votes, that big red thing that looks that it's a lot of people there, a lot of votes, it's almost nothing. So this is how it should look like. But to me, this fails a bit because first, the problem with Beshala, that he has trypophobia, but the other is that look at the luminance of the 2 colors. The luminance and the saturation of the red, it's higher than the luminance and the saturation of the blue. And you can check that by looking from far away. So the first issue that he should address is which colors he chose to represent the 2 options, right? And because the luminance and the saturation of the red color, which is the one that is already overrepresented as area, it's much higher than the blue, and he didn't change that, then he's kind of destroying his own purpose, right? This design choice goes against what he wants to explain. The other thing is that if you remember the slides that we saw here about the sensitivity to different magnitudes, right? And you could call these slides here, teaching materials, markers and channels. So if you look at the sensitivity, this beautiful, super useful here, right? So he's using red-gray, basically red saturation, which has a very high, we're super sensitive for the color that is already overrepresented. And he's using blue, which is probably here. So this doesn't help him. And then he's using area, which has a 0.7 sensitivity, right? But look at area. You see the green light here? When area is small, it becomes higher represented. So we are more sensitive. So even if you decrease the area linearly, what he's doing here, when the area becomes small, it doesn't decrease, it actually increases compared to linear. So doing this to show that this little dot is less than it was when it was a big square, it's not the best choice, because look how the area evolves. When it's here, it doesn't decrease like the blue, right? That's what we would like to. So in this case, his choices of design in colors and the mark, the shape, even though he thought it would show that, hey, look at land, this little dot is almost nothing, but perceptually, it's more than it actually is. So these two choices go against what he wants to explain, and that's what you could have told me. It's a poor chart. It's a very good example of a poor chart narrative fit. They don't fit. A way to fix this is to change the colors, so that instead of red, use gray, and instead of blue, or switch the colors, right? But then this will confuse people. And the other thing he could have done is, instead of bubbles, area bubbles, then use planets, right? So the dots really are way smaller, but he didn't do that. Another option to do this is to convert the bubbles into people, right? And isomeasures of people, like we saw in the chapter first. Sounds good. So this is a very deep analysis, but if you understood this super important chart, you could have invoked this chart and say, look, wow, this is all the problems with this narrative. And that's why, even though it looks amazing, when it stops, you don't feel like, aha, right? But if they had choose different colors and markers, maybe you would have gone like, aha. And also you would avoid the problem of Beshala that has this phobia. Okay, good. So a lot of commentary on LinkedIn about this guy. Look, 95 comments. And so that would have been an A+ analysis of this. Sounds good? Questions? Questions? Right, we are almost out of time. So for the next class, I wanted you to open an account in Kaggle. Who has opened an account in Kaggle?
I did.
And how do you like it? How do you like it? Can you share something? So I will send you a small assignment to make a small chart in Kaggle, right? So I want you to have this assignment ready for the next class. So it should take you 20 minutes to do it. And then in the next class, we walk through this very good post explaining how to use pandas to do plotting in this. And then you will see the difference between using Tableau, Excel, and Python to do charts, and then you will have a very good overview of when to use which tool. Sounds good?
Yes.
Good. So open an account in Kaggle, and then I will send you some tutorial to